Are we live, Mark?
It says we're live.
Well, I'm going to say then we're live. I'm just
I
going to
am
watch
gonna
the
do.
screen over here and see, because whenever I do that, then all of a sudden, a few seconds later, it pops up on my other screen, and I always have the damn volume on.
Gotcha.
I'm going to watch that first up. Here it comes. There it comes, popping up on the other screen. Oh, good. I'm muted. All right,
There we
cool. So, how's your week?
Yeah, it's been a good week. I'm still fully constructing my environment here. Have a kitchen arriving today, which is going to be stairs arriving today, and a new 30,000 liter water tank, which is like I think it's 9,000 gallons. Is that big to you? Is that a big number?
Sounds big. Sounds
Yeah.
big. Yeah, I mean, I think my water heater is about 30. So,
Okay.
it's a lot more water in my water heater.
I'm just going to check that number actually.
I think 9 gallons is the size of a small swimming pool. 9,000 gallons.
Okay.
So sounds about right. Can you swim in your water tank?
Being that I drink it, probably not.
Ah, yes. So I see you have a very bright red shirt on today.
Yeah.
Very bright.
Can you read it?
Honest MVP.
I am an honest MVP.
I am an honest, not the.
Well, this is the thing. It was given to me by the honest MVP when nobody knew who the honest MVP was, with the intention one of my YouTube videos.
Right.
And that it would fuel speculation, but of course it never came to that. Oh, there you go. It's 7,900 gallons, 30,000 liters.
That is still the size of a small swimming pool. I mean, that's a pretty small swimming pool, but still, that's pretty big.
Yeah. So that's the second one I'm getting delivered today, tank-wise. So hello, let's see who we got here.
John? We got Frank, we got Ken, we got Scott, Gary, John, Tomas, Patty, Lorinus, and Ken again. So Frank commented on a post I wrote today that I guess I wasn't angry enough, because I thought that I was kind of punching a little tough there, but
you want to drop that post into the comments, the link to it, Steve? Sure. I read the post and I thought, your came out, guns blazing with it, but when I looked at it, I thought it was quite passive. Like, it didn't seem very.
It kind of disappoints me. I was hoping to be a little more aggressive with it, I guess.
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to take a look at that while we're talking and give me your opinions.
I've seen more comments on LinkedIn in regards to your post that I thought were more aggressive, as in people.
Of course, those are people that are not MVPs that aren't risking losing anything. So there is but I hate to think that I'm actually tempering myself at all because of, Tomas didn't think it was harsh enough either.
Yeah.
Well, okay. In that case, we're going to call that an introductory post to my program.
Yeah.
And I've obviously got to do some follow-ups here to hit a little harder, maybe get a little bit more specific. Googs is leaving, and so I felt like he was kind of fair game. I've had him on my podcast 3 times. You were on with one of those. I think he's been on. Has he been on yours also?
Yep. Been on my podcast. Yep.
So between us, we've talked to him about 4 times. And each time him talking about all the humongous success of the program.
Yeah.
And listening to him at Inspire, getting up there talking about the tremendous success and the thousands of this and thousands of that. And, I talked to a lot of ISVs.
Yeah.
And I'm not hearing that message. And I find it hard to believe that I just happened by chance to only be talking to the ISVs that are not having tremendous success and just barely missing the ones that are.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say the guy's being disingenuous, but I
don't you? Sorry.
I might want to say that, but I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying this.
I've done a bunch of podcasts with some big ISVs out there.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it. This is the thing, right? You go and see the conferences and things like this, and you'll get the ISV that are showcased up there, having amazing success. Now, I don't know whether it's just the history, 20 years I've been in the partner ecosystem. And what I have found is that if Microsoft wants a representation on the stage of an event, what person or what partner is going to say no when they say, listen, we're going to send a video crew into your place. We're going to cover all the costs of that. It's going to be a 1-2 day recording. We're going to do, and you're going to get this video at the end of it showing how amazing your business is running on Microsoft technologies. And you're going to talk about how you love the technology and stuff like that. You're not going to speak about actually it's a crock, right? This is because you wouldn't be in the
yeah, and that's the case with probably all of the testimonial videos that you see across Microsoft. Everybody's, we want to use it for marketing. We want that, and so it is very common. I mean, I've done a couple in the past. I got up at what was it? One of the events where I was in the keynote with Cecilia, and to listen to me, man, you would think I was the happiest guy on the planet with their whole program. But
totally.
yeah, not really. There's a video of me going all the way back a few years ago that I went out to the studio and did in Redmond for Brent Combest. That again, I'm just stroking everybody around me, to get on the camera and get the publicity, but not exactly what I was thinking. Not exactly. I mean, it was more talking about what I would hope the thing would be, as though that's what was happening.
Totally. And the thing is, when this program got announced, the ISV Connect program got announced, right? One of the questions I asked Steve Googs was like, hey, this is interesting, mate, because, and I went back and I went through the chronology of all the history of these programs from, being in 20 years. I've seen them all. That was around our ecosystem. And he was like, well, you just watch this space, right? This has got nothing to do with those. This is going to be, because I said, listen, the partner community is jaded by Microsoft saying, we're going to solve this ISV thing. Leave it with me. It's going to be solved. And here we are, another 24 months on, and I'm like, nothing solved. Listen, why would you become an ISV partner now? In fact, I don't even think that Microsoft want ISVs that purely build on the Power Platform.
So, according to Charles, he does.
No, I don't. I think it's lip service.
It may be. Yeah, it may well be lip service from Charles as well. I think that the ISVs that are successful today were successful before. And so he's mentioning Wim from Veripark. Yeah, I think Veripark has been successful. They were successful long before ISV Connect.
So the thing is, you hear that Veripark podcast, right? What you don't hear is the conversation I didn't record. As in other words, when we finish the episode, the next 20 minutes where we discuss the truth.
Right. Yep.
It's not necessarily all wine and cheese there.
Well, I would love to see Microsoft be able to demonstrate a significant number of ISVs that either came into the program brand new, hadn't done anything with the program, or had modest success, and as a result of their efforts and the ISV Connect program and the assets that they're providing, that suddenly this ISV has a successful business.
Yeah,
I don't think they'd be able to point to a single one.
Nope.
That story would hold true for. The ones that are successful today are the ones that were successful before any of these programs, before they did anything. Yeah. In spite of Microsoft, they were successful and are still successful in spite of Microsoft.
Yeah. I think that, and let's separate what it is here. I don't think as a startup, you should build on the Power Platform as a startup. I just don't think that, you don't want to be battling these fees and stuff from the get-go when you're trying to run a lean machine and get to market and get into a false belief that things like AppSource and stuff are going to bring you business. Separate than AppSource, you have your own marketing engine. You have to have your full go-to-market, your campaigning. How are you going to go via partner? Are you going to go direct? And just on a side, I think the through partner model is fundamentally over.
I agree that I think that the AppSource story, to the degree that Microsoft is able to lure either a startup or some ISV on Salesforce over with the app source story is going to make them business and generate customers for them. I
Yeah.
feel bad for those people that, that bought into that and invested heavily with that expectation, and now listening to, well, the same thing I get from Microsoft is excuses about why it isn't, the algorithm. We're still tweaking that. You've been tweaking the algorithm since you fucking launched it.
Yep.
So
I
can't
talked to two different companies. One, Microsoft, an FTE from Microsoft, not directly in my geo, so in one of the other geos. And I talked to a partner company in Europe that was helping what this Microsoft employee was doing, which is Microsoft want to get people that are an established software house that already have, let's say, 1 million odd customers on their technology.
on Amazon.
They don't even want to port them. They just want to plug into them.
Yeah.
Right. Just plug them in, make them work together so that Microsoft can go to market in their marketing and go, listen, here's, 300 plus ISVs that are on our technology, connected to our technology, and that's their success story at showing how the platform plugs into everything.
But that doesn't even make Microsoft money. I mean, what would make Microsoft?
They're not interested. They're attracting the big company that has that technology of that other third party already running in their business. And they want to say, hey, no problem. You keep that there. You just plug in our tech with it, and away you go, and you start building PowerApps.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the real money-making move for Microsoft is to find those ISVs that are running on top of Amazon and generating huge amounts of revenue for Amazon and getting them to come over to Azure. And I'm sure that's a play. It's interesting. Thomas there is bringing up, and by the way, hi, Debbie. Thomas is bringing up the alternative distribution channels.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have some alternative distribution channels for apps that are a little clumsy through the regular distribution, right? Like Tech Data and Ingram and some of the big distributors that have that. The problem, Thomas, and actually you and I discussed this before we got on the air, Mark, is that Microsoft's contention is that if you are going to build a solution that runs on top of our platform that we build, we maintain, we advance, and we support, you have to pay us the fee. And it's almost like it's not a tax, it's a fee to compensate our providing you this platform that's giving you 75% of what you need for your business.
How would that work for Azure if they turned around and said, listen, if you're using Azure service, on top of the license, we're going to charge you a fee. The license is the fee. You'd pick it up through licensing, not licensing plus.
Yeah, well, I agree. And how many people have we had, though, ISVs that have said, we generate licenses for Microsoft?
Exactly.
Now,
I know Click Dimensions in the day, when I used to sell a heck of a lot of Click, and it would go in just about every time I did an implementation, 2 products, ISV products always went in. Kingsway Soft, always sold with it. There's no question. You knew you're going to use it at some point, and Click Dimensions was always going to use because most customers have an emailing need, mechanism with it, which the platform didn't provide. So those 2 went in and helped us sell deals without a doubt.
Help sell a Dynamics deal.
Correct. Yep.
But that customer was looking at Dynamics. I think that I was actually talking to an ISV last week that does lease and loan origination solution that happens to run on top of Dynamics. And I asked them, how many of their customers had Dynamics before they bought their solution? And they said, oh, none of them. They didn't. So none of their customers actually bought Dynamics. They bought this lease and loan origination solution that happened to run on Dynamics.
Yeah.
Well, there's an ISV that can clearly claim that, hey, we're creating license sales for you as you would not otherwise have had.
Yeah.
They weren't buying your product, they were buying mine. But most ISVs can't say that. Most ISVs are selling something that gets added in, like you say, as an add-on to a Dynamics sale or add-on to somebody who already has Dynamics. So Microsoft's kind of like, yeah, screw you, you didn't sell the license. We already had that license, whether you existed or not.
Yeah.
So some ISVs can definitely say that. I am also talking to another group that is contemplating some sort of an alternative distribution channel,
Yeah.
partly because of things that Microsoft has been doing, but also partly because of how poorly distributors
Yeah.
are. You know,
Yeah.
Ingram, Tech Data, Synex, any of these big global
They're all old school. They're all old school thinkers. You know, we're big, do it our way. You know, I know with SalesSpark, we looked at, I think it was Ingram.
Yep.
Or well, I can't remember which one in Aussie. And it was kind of like, listen, this is what we'll sell it for. This is what you'll pay us, or fuck off. That was the kind of thing, you know. And they're definitely not interested in partnership that I could see. It was more, what money can we make off you, and we don't need you. You know, be blessed that we're going to give you a meeting.
Well, I think it's interesting because Disty's in an interesting spot. You know, I mean, they lost all the hardware sales for the most part.
Yeah.
In the past, several years of the cloud shift.
Yeah.
Which is what they always made their money on. So they're kind of desperate, but they're simultaneously desperate yet stuck in old thinking and slow moving. And they're still massive. I mean, these companies are still massive sized. I don't know how they've been able to maintain being so big still with, so much of their business going away. Slinging licenses. That's what they're doing, slinging licenses. But more and more, I'm talking to disties are talking about, wanting to get into services game. They're realizing they can't make enough money just slinging licenses. They've got to get into services game. If you had gone into the disties talking about, hey, we have an ISV solution that we would let you white label. They like the white label stuff. Let me call it Ingram Spark, whatever, and hide all of your stuff, and it's going to be our product, and you guys will be the secret guys behind the curtain. They're interested in those kinds of things, they could, because they gotta figure out how to make money.
So
we shall see. But this ISV connected addendum, that was another thing you and I talked about, Thomas. Signed. The intent of Microsoft is, if you're going to be an ISV on our platform, you're going to pay us the fee. We don't give a shit how you got on our platform, whether you use AppSource, whether you side loaded it, whether you mailed a floppy.
What if you didn't sign the addendum and just carried on and allowed like the old school way of distributing, which would you'd do your solution package, you'd sell it to the customer, you might put a key on it, and you would do it direct. What's stopping you not signing the addendum? Therefore, you're not in breach of anything, are you?
Well, so there are a lot of people that have not signed the addendum, because I've talked to quite a few of them that are actually trying to decide whether they should sign it or not.
What's the benefit?
I think their thinking is that if I don't sign the addendum, I don't owe the fee. Microsoft's position is, you owe us the fee, for running on top of our platform. So now then there's the question is, can they prevent them?
And would they try? Would they want the fallout of going out and tackling the very few ISVs in the ecosystem and go, you know what, we're going to cease and desist you, or we're going to legalize up on you? Man, it ain't going to happen. The PR fallout for Microsoft would be, the David and Goliath, thumping the small little fella starting out. It's
almost like if they were to go out and just take some company's trade name and just use it and just say fuck you and just take the trade name and use it. Some little business out there, and they steal his trade name, and oh, wait a minute, they are doing that, never mind.
Wow, did you see that? I tweeted out earlier since our last show that obviously has been caught filing now. This company did not have an agreement with Microsoft. So they're seeking all their legal costs. They're seeking damages for diluting their name in the market or creating confusion. I see that people that have been working with their tech for over 30 years are getting hit up by recruiters and go, wow, you got so much experience in this space for, only been out a couple of weeks. Like,
oh yeah, and they're looking for Microsoft to cease and desist using the name.
Yep, they've sent that letter.
That suit has been filed here in Florida.
Dataflex.
And it's going to go in front of a judge, and if a judge decides to grant them that motion for that injunction, then Microsoft has to stop using it, or they're in contempt of court.
Yep.
So obviously Microsoft's going to fight that. I don't know how they win, but I'm not an intellectual property lawyer to know how what they might think they have going on there.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting. So Thomas, what is the solution that Tech Data is talking about white labeling? If you're comfortable to say just kind of at a high level. Oh, there's John with North 52.
Yeah.
Talking about signing the addendum, you hand total control over to
Yeah.
Microsoft. Well, but
Yeah.
if you sign the addendum, you definitely have signed an agreement to give them total control.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're control less if you don't sign it.
So one of the big threats back in the day, that came out with a program is that we can run a bit of software across the system, and we could discover where that ISV solution, we're going to invoice you. One, my understanding from engineering, that tool does not exist. It is not a priority for engineering to build such a tool.
No.
So, and the whole, you won't be able to sideload. It'll have to go through AppSource. There is no engineering around any of that, to my knowledge, either. It's not been done. It doesn't exist. And
I don't think there's any engineering. I think that was Goog's talk to try and maybe get people to think that something was coming, so come on board. He had talked about they would have the ability to scan customer environments and identify solutions that are in those environments that aren't certified, meaning they haven't gone through AppSource, they're not quote unquote certified.
Yep.
And that, and I'm sure this could all be done. I mean, technically, and they would be within their rights to pop up a notification to the admin of that thing saying you are running a solution in your environment that has not been certified. Scary stuff. We don't know what this is. We're not going to be doing, we don't know what it's doing with your data. I mean, they could certainly scare some folks, particularly in enterprise, away from some solutions.
Yeah.
The other thing they talked about, if you'll recall, there was some talk about locking down to where the only way you could install a solution was through AppSource. That they were going to shut off the ability to sideload at all. They could not sideload at all. I haven't heard anything more on both of those fronts. I think that was a lot of talk to try and get people to sign and figure it's inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and you know what? 10%, 20%, I don't give a damn. Those are both perfectly fine. If you bring me 10 or 20% more customers, I'm thrilled to pay you that money.
Yep.
But I'm not hearing ISVs out there that are getting customers.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is kingmakers. We know that, right? There's always going to be some ISV that's got some relationship with somebody in a spot who's shoving them into every deal, and that ISV is smiling all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
But that's not the story for most people.
I talked to one ISV that had paid over $30,000 to Microsoft under this program, and I said, "Have you had your return on investment?" They said, "No, it's in good faith that we will, because we've definitely not had anywhere near that return for that $30,000 that's been paid."
I think that, I was when Googs first came in, and it was become obvious to him that part of the problem here is we're not making any money. We don't have a skin in the game. I was hopeful that if Microsoft has some skin in the game, that they will focus then on making sure that they're giving us everything that we need to be successful. But that isn't what happened. He just kind of reached into the pocket, said, "I'm going to take some of your revenue, and no longer do I really feel obligated to give you anything. Now I've decided this is a fee to cover our costs of providing the platform that we're already doing." So it's almost like he absolved himself of any responsibility to provide us anything in return for that, other than these half-assedy little things that they were doing out there. So, and John talking in the chat there, he definitely has plenty of experience with this space. And yeah, I mean, they're not going to shut down all these customers. They're not going to do all that stuff. It was just a bunch of wind, I think, to get people to comply with what they'd like to have done. Him telling us on the show that time that they have thousands of ISVs have been paying fees. Well, I don't know that I believe that. I've yet to talk to an ISV that has sent Microsoft a nickel.
Yeah.
They've all gotten the emails, and they've all ignored them. And even if where they signed the contract, they've ignored them. I mean, then that case, Microsoft probably has some recourse, but how are they even going to track it down?
Yeah.
So let me ask you. Here's a question. I'll put you on the spot. Googs is leaving. What would happen if Mark Smith were made in charge of the ISV program, took over for Googs? You're king of the hill. what are some of the things that you think? That's probably a really shitty thing to do, put you on the spot.
No, it's good. Bring it. Bring it.
'Cause
My mind's racing.
It's definitely a lot easier to sit back here and take shots at other people's targets.
Okay,
But a lot
so this
trickier
is
to
what
come up with your own. But I'd be
this is
curious
what I
to
would
hear.
do. I would stop saying I'm gonna do something,
Yep.
and I'd put a licensing mechanism in place, something that all ISVs have wanted for a long time.
We
I'd put it
plug
in place. I'd get rid of this pay-to-play game, right? You want to collect fees? Do it through your licensing structure. Don't complicate it with others. Make it so it's a full e-commerce store that is absolutely amazing, that your SEO, marketing, bang, it just works. Like if someone's searching for my product, bang, it gets in there. None of this bullshit ranking system that they've got in there that is absolutely crap. Basically, their big partners have been placed in there. One, get rid of the services part of App Store. Put that somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's got nothing to do with apps. That's a service business. And
Yep.
just go hard on making it the most amazing. I keep saying the people that build the broken system can't fix the broken system, right?
Nope.
You need fresh eyes. You need to, if you put that in place, the licensing infrastructure, the ability for people to absolutely get found, in other words, the results speak for themselves on the truckload of qualified punters that you've got coming in, not tire kickers, not people from parts of the world that want to rip off your product and reverse engineer it and create something else. You do all that. You don't put a third-party provider that validates it's also your competitor.
Right.
You know, in the back end, right? You get rid of all that. Then you have a platform to start showcasing success. Let the numbers, publish those numbers. Look at this, 5,000, 10,000 installs of this product. You put that on AppSource, right? You take a leaf out of Apple's book and start seeing phenomenal distribution of product through the platform. You pick up all your licensing, as in Microsoft picks it up via, as I say,
Now, you know, Apple
license fees.
app developers aren't thrilled about what they pay Apple for what they get either.
Nope.
You know, Apple's what, 30%?
Yeah, but they're buying into a system that's well established. Like Apple built this tech that everybody wants in their pocket. At the moment, like that flip side is not there with what we have. Right?
I think what you probably would know going into Apple's ecosystem is that if you have a good app, you're going to make money. I don't have any confidence that if you have a good app, you will make money in Microsoft's ecosystem.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The quality of the app, the value of the app is irrelevant in the Microsoft ecosystem. Completely relevant in Apple's.
Yeah.
And you'll feel confident that you can make money. And I think the same is probably true for Salesforce. But I think you kind of nailed it on the head. There's no one on the team, nor has there ever been anyone on the team that came from ISV.
Yep.
That has any understanding of the ISV business model. There are a bunch of,
sounds like Dynamics 365 marketing and how that was built.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of tech nerds that are
no marketers involved. Nobody that knew anything about the industry involved.
Yep, let's go look at what ClickDimension's doing, and let's look at what HubSpot's doing, and we're going to copy it, and we'll have a marketing app. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to do with AppSource. Is let's look what Salesforce has done with App Exchange, and let's go try and copy it. But you can't just look at a website, copy the website, and have the success if you don't understand why something was done or how it was done or what's happening with it. I mean, they just don't have any concept of what was really going on there. They just copied what they saw, and we've never had anyone on the team that came out of the space. I mean, I think I told you recently, somebody brought on the AppSource team from Amazon marketplace, but who knows what level that person is at or what authority they have or what knowledge they have. I don't know. Like you said, it could have been the janitor, no telling. But they need to go outside. They should go to one of the big ISVs or successful ISVs and go recruit. Go recruit somebody. They had Shan, who obviously one of their very successful ISVs. They bought his company and basically gave him a job and took him straight out of the whole ISV picture.
Yeah.
So he didn't have anything to do with ISV. He's all in the front. He's managing the solutioning system. You know.
Yeah.
There's a guy they should have taken. You know, you're an ISV. Let's put you in charge of fucking ISVs. You know, take a successful ISV, buy their company, and take the leader and put them in charge of it. We've never had anybody in ISVs that knows anything about ISV.
Yeah.
And the people that broke it aren't going to be able to fix it, like you said.
Yeah. So yeah, I think John's right again. The DataFlex team story is more riding the shirt tail of teams. SIs are going to benefit from building stuff. I think the Power Platform is brilliant for SIs, system integrators, right? Massive opportunity, but definitely not the opportunity that I think I believe 2 years ago for ISVs. I definitely think my thoughts have changed in that respect. In fact, you know, after talking to a very senior engineer in Microsoft, we're talking about, you know, only one level down from Charles Lamana, you know, said to me, listen, go build your solution direct in Azure.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are you thinking? Build it in Azure.
Well, the difference there is development chops. You know, there's a lot of folks that could potentially build a solution on the Power Platform that don't have the technical chops to build it in Azure.
Yeah, but if you're an ISV, right, you really should, right? You've got a bunch of developers on your team. You don't need. You're not after a low code anything, right?
Yep.
You're after a fully engineered. You control the UX, that type of thing, and it's designed for your industry vertical. I think that's the story, not the low-code platform, which is really designed for end users and SIs to help those end users build solutions.
Yep. And yeah, John, we did have a battle-hardened leader in Googs, but he was from inside. He was deep Microsoft ingrained from Ballmer days.
Yeah, it's a Steve Ballmer protege, right? It comes from that way. You do it our way or fuck off type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, and he just was not open to anything.
No.
It's a shame too, because I think the opportunity is real. Salesforce has proven the opportunity is real. I mean, their app exchange is frankly, I don't think Salesforce would be where they are today if they didn't have app exchange. And from my time at Salesforce, it's been a while, but from at my time, there were lots of very successful ISVs.
Yeah.
Part of the difference, I think, over there, at least at the time, was Salesforce didn't give a shit whether or not their logo was out front or not. If you're an ISV, they were selling that force.com, they were selling platform licenses long before Microsoft even allowed us. And even today, there's no hiding the Microsoft or PowerApps or Dynamics branding. It's all about their branding. Salesforce didn't give a shit. We'll sell you a license. Go build on our platform, whatever you want. Call it whatever you want. We don't even care if it says powered by. We don't care. And so it was really offered more like a true development platform. And now Microsoft's trying to say this is one too, but it's really not. It's a Microsoft branded, fully Microsoft, product that we're able to tweak. We're able to tweak. The closest we can get would be, like you say, you can go build on Azure and people know whether it runs on anything Microsoft or care. The people that I was talking to last week, the ISV that sells the loan and lease origination solutions, their customers didn't give a shit what it ran on.
No.
Could care less.
So a couple of other things going on in the world. I don't know what's happened in Lebanon, a massive explosion I see. And like when you watch some of the videos, just ridiculous. When I look at it based on other videos I've seen across the years, it looks like a gas explosion or a chemical explosion of some description, but it looks like
a bomb, huh?
Carnage going off there. Just such a shame. A lot of life lost. The other one is, what was I going to say? We've talked about DataFlex and of course the court case around that. I got a little interesting package delivered to me.
Oh yes.
Overnight. Quite surprised.
Is it a watch? It looks like a watch.
Not a Rolex. Bit of it says here, it's a Granite Award from Dynamic Communities, Mark Smith 2020. I've not done anything in 2020, so that's a bit of a surprise. Thank you.
They give out the top partner award now to partners who basically bash them for 6 months.
I'll put it on my trophy cabinet.
Yeah.
Oh, Microsoft did
You
the same
suppose that was
thing
an
this
effort to
week.
maybe get you to shut up?
They did the same thing this week. Look at that. I'm 1 year off my next 10-year little.
Nice. Both of those are apparently you just went mute.
Oh, that banging must have.
There you go. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, it did.
So apparently people seem to think, in looking at you, Mark, that you can be bought off with little pieces of glass. You can be quieted.
Yeah, I see, you know, when they sent this out this week, there's a little bit of addendum paper in there. And it seemed to be more strongly worded about if you do any kind of bashing or pull anything into disrepute. So I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble or we're going to get in trouble for this show. For, you know, it's not that we pull into disrepute. We just question some of the stuff.
Yeah, I tell you what, I would challenge Microsoft to take anything we've said and prove that we're not correct. You know, I mean, I'm open to that. I would love to be wrong about some things.
Totally.
I mean, I'm as you and I are probably about as plugged in as any partners are going to be, and so, you know, if we don't know it, then that's Microsoft's fault.
Yeah.
If you got partners that are as plugged in as we are to what's going on, and we don't see a successful path here, whose fault is that? Is that mine or yours? You know, Microsoft. So.
A bunch of new MVPs, of course, got announced this week. Most notable in my mind is a new one in New Zealand, which increases our rank here, which is so good to see. And then Joe Griffin, he's
what was the name of the New Zealand one?
Now you put me on the spot.
Well, we want to give the guy a plug, right? He just
okay. Hang on a second.
I'd hate to be referred to as some guy in Florida.
Damn, you put me on the spot here. 1 second. I got it.
So Ken wants to know how new MVP categories are created. Well, I can tell you how they're created. They're created because Microsoft comes up with a new product and they want to sell it. And so some MVPs will go out there and focus on that product, become really good at it, and suddenly they have a new category. Because we've seen that happen in business applications where, and I remember the first time I saw it happen, it was somebody who came in the Flow door. Back when, shortly after they launched Microsoft Flow, now Power Automate, there was a new MVP that none of us had heard of, hadn't seen, didn't know anything about, that came in because of their expertise in Flow. And that was kind of the beginning of seeing all these other doorways. This year, I expect to see MVPs come in the door through Power Virtual Agents.
Yeah.
I expect to see them come through the door for Data Flex in Teams. I expect to see MVPs created in all these subcategories of the business applications group. So yeah, if you want to be an MVP, I don't know that it's going to get, well, but of course at the same time, they also dump some of these, right? We've had some categories dropped that are just no longer.
The NAV one, I think they amalgamated the NAV GP. I think there's only 2 people left in the world that are in because of GP. The person in New Zealand was Lin Zor Win, based in Wellington, who got his MVP. Great guy. But hence why the name didn't roll off my tongue. But yeah, so great to have him in the program. It's funny, as in when there's these new categories, they all just still sit under the umbrella in our world as business application MVP.
Yeah.
They might have got in because of a subcategory, but none of that subcategory is public.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like, when you get your degree from college, they don't give your test scores.
Yeah.
You get the same degree, you barely pass, you got the same degree as the guy who aced every test. So you don't know how they got it, doesn't matter. They got the degree, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Lynn did become one.
Yeah. So
I thought there were a couple. Was there? You're starting to mention another one.
Oh, well, those are the two that that kind of grabbed my attention as folks that definitely were, well, that had been on my radar that would receive it. But who else have we got? I'll just jump into my little back channel. Dinesh, Lynn, Joe Griffin are the ones that I see there in the list.
Yeah, Joe's been at it for a while. He's been writing a long time, and
Yeah.
I've read a lot of his stuff over the years. So he's definitely been at it, probably for longer than most of. But maybe he never really made a concerted effort to get it, or didn't get nominated. But he probably could have been one much sooner than now.
Yeah, and Dinesh, I mean, he's another one, massive contributor in the community, and great to see that he's now in the fold as well. So yeah, a bunch of new folks coming through. Great to see. It's always good to see as well the new people that are much more recent into the technology, making some massive contributions.
Yeah.
Which is good to see.
Yep. I think you had told me a couple of years ago that there was discussions about, or maybe it wasn't even that long ago, about significantly increasing the number of MVPs.
Yeah.
Significantly. I don't think that's happened though. I mean, because it seems like people get dropped out. Maybe not quite. Maybe the attrition rate isn't quite as high as the addition rate, but I haven't seen it. Hasn't like doubled or tripled or done anything like we thought it was going to do. So I wonder what's going on.
That was the discussion, to double the numbers in the FY 20 timeframe.
Yeah, which is past now, and they didn't double. They didn't
happen. Didn't happen.
So wonder what the change of heart was there on their part to not do that.
Yeah, I don't know. As in, I'm not sure why that change came about, but it didn't happen. Well, I can't have my speculations.
Maybe there was some concern about diluting, because they did go through in the competencies here over the past couple of years and really tightened up what it takes to be gold.
Yep.
And I remember talking to the team back when they were starting to put some of that stuff together, and basically the conversation was, there's too many gold partners, and gold doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. And see what's happened now in the market. People are being asked, like, the number of certified people that you have to have is through the roof to enter the game. And now people are offering to buy your certification off you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been around, that concept.
Not long. It's only the last 12 months.
No, in other industries, it's been fairly common. If you're a roofing guy and you want to start your own roofing business, and you don't have what you need to get a license, you can go to some other roofing contractor and he can kind of sponsor you, if you will. Or, I mean, he's taking responsibility. His license is now at risk.
Yeah.
And you're out there operating under, but you're going to pay him a fee.
Yeah.
The difference here in the Microsoft and the conversation you're talking about was where we've had some partners out there trying to get their competencies, reaching out to people that have certifications, saying, hey, I'll pay you an annual fee to basically associate with our organization, so we have your certification listed in our organization stack.
Yeah.
But in Microsoft, unlike the roofing business, you can only associate with one.
Yeah.
So if you're currently associated with a partner, they're getting the benefit of whatever tests you take, in their organization to go after competencies and things like that, whatever certifications you have.
Mm-mm.
If you go to associate that with some other firm, it comes off of the one you're with.
Yeah.
So you can't just go take a bunch of tests and offer yourself out to 50 people as, hey, I'll be your qualifier, if you will.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be a pretty good business for test takers.
Totally. I mean, and it's just something in the partner portal that you go in there and say, for years I've had a bunch of certifications, and you can go in there and say, okay, who is this associated against? And you give the association and of course all your qualifications get banged through to that partner.
Oh yeah.
That you have, which of course might put them over the line at getting a gold competency as such.
Also could potentially give you quite a bit of leverage with that partner if you are suddenly the one that put them over the line to get their competency that they want.
Yeah.
And once you are awarded a competency, you basically have it until the renewal. I mean, if
Mhm.
everybody in your organization that certified you left tomorrow, you'd still have that competency until renewal time.
Yeah.
But then come renewal time, you'd have to qualify, you'd have to still be qualified. Of course, they wouldn't. But so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some temporary shenanigans going on also. I want to get you to associate with us long enough to get the competency. And as
Yeah.
soon as we have it, we'll
Yeah. It's
do whatever you
interesting
want.
because, back in the day when I had my, company specializing in this, and I'd totally, medal, well, gold for everything around customer relationship management. And a company that was in the ERP side of things decided they wanted to get into the business. And so therefore I did an agreement with them where on gigs, they would take my profile and various of my staff and use it as part of the team to win deals.
Right.
And it was that we were doing, this is when I was naive business person, doing it, just on a handshake and stuff with no transaction because there was going to be a bigger pie to share going forward. I was going to pick up that work. And of course,
Right.
that company then turned around, used it to get their competency, and that business has been sold a few times, is now a DXC company.
Yes.
And wow,
Lessons learned.
lessons learned as a naive business person, having the skills in the game, but being played, so
The
interesting.
longer I live, the less I realize I know.
Yeah. So true. So
I,
true.
and for some reason or other, I seem to know so much less than when I was 25. Because when I was 25, I knew everything. but it's been downhill since then. I know so much less than when I was 25 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Crazy.
well. Well, I'll be interested to see what happens with AppSource. We there's rumors. We know we're obviously going to get a new leader because Googs is retiring.
Yeah.
There's been a few names floated around. Uh, I'm not sure which one of them is landed on it. I think I said in the last call I was probably going to try and make a phone call. I probably can make a few phone calls and get some information. I don't think it's necessarily a secret.
Yeah.
But they may just still be deciding. But I think it's time with Microsoft on the ISV where they need to shit or get off the pot. John in the chat made a comment there about how part of that agreement that people signed, Microsoft can change the terms of the program anytime with 30-day notice.
Yeah.
Well, good. Let's hope that whoever comes in next takes advantage of that and changes the terms with 30-day notice to be better for ISVs. Because I don't even think this has been good for Microsoft. They cannot have generated enough revenue through this motion. They did it backwards.
Yeah. And for the negative that they've received from it as well.
Yeah, and they just plain did it backwards. I saw the logic of let's create revenue so we have skin in the game, then we'll be motivated to fix it. I saw the logic of that if I were in their position, but standing back, clearly it would have been better for them to have made the investment themselves and fixed the system, shown evidence, have successful people, and then institute a program like this.
Yeah.
They just went the other way around. And then they didn't finish. They instituted, we're going to take some of your money, and they stopped there. That's as far as they got, was we're going to take some of your money. All of this, the licensing you're talking about, that has been talked about. Commerce has been talked about. All of that stuff was on the roadmap. None of it has happened. AppSource looks the same still. I mean, still talk. I was talking to that team very recently.
One new category, PowerApps, and the actual back end doesn't even really support PowerApps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I haven't seen anything happen with AppSource.
Yeah.
Allegedly, and I'm not an Azure partner, but allegedly it works well for Azure. At least that was Microsoft's position. I don't know how well that works from an Azure partner's perspective. I don't know what their thoughts are on how it's working for them. And maybe that's part of the problem is that they had a solution, they had a system that was working for a particular kind of an ISV.
Yeah.
And just tried to, again, let's just copy something because we are not imaginative enough to come up with our own idea or think outside of the box or ask anyone who knows what the fuck they think. Let's just copy something else that looks like it's working without any any understanding that the buyer of Azure services is not even remotely similar to the buyer of a business app. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. John's raised some great points there again in the chat. Very valid, very valid.
Oh yeah, and even harder to get venture capital or private equity with an ISV if they're reading my blog.
Yeah.
Probably, or some of the other comments out there in the space, because you know, nobody's too crazy about that.
Yeah, so true, so true. Well, I've got 10 minutes to go. Anything that you want to wrap up with, Steve-O?
Yeah, there's a couple of, you know, Ken's asking about a third party creating a better app source store. I think I could create a better app source store in a long weekend on WordPress. It isn't a question of creating a better app source store. It's the two things that app source feels that they're providing, one of which anybody could provide, and the other we couldn't, is the provisioning, the ability to be able to have your apps queued up in their back end, and a customer comes, they can push a button and install it in their environment, which they do through the trial motion. As a matter of fact, me and my partners have been trying to discuss whether or not the trial motion actually works. You know, in AppSource, you've got three options, right? You've got the trial, you've got the test drive, or you've got in some cases, you've got the call me and we'll talk, you know, kind of a scenario. And we've got apps in there on all three fronts. And test drive gets a reasonable amount of traffic when it's working properly. Test drive system, for some reason, continuously has challenges. And, you know, if I'm going and I'm looking at an app and it says test drive and I click a button, I would expect to be placed into the application within, you know, the time that I'm sitting there,
Yeah.
and play with it. But that's not exactly what happens. You know, it takes some time to provision, and sometimes it can take quite a while to provision. Then I'm going to get an email 4 hours later saying, "Oh, by the way, your test drive's ready." I'm already off onto something else. So
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you've only got an hour to do this test drive, and by the time I get back to it, it's already dead and gone. I'm logging into, you know, I'm trying to get me then into the. It's not a fluid experience, but I don't think I could do better because I don't have that back end access. As far as a marketplace, marketing a marketplace and searchability and findability, yeah, I have no doubt that someone could do a better job on a freaking WordPress website, and people do it every day out there with solutions. The other part that they're providing, which should theoretically be of some value, is this certification, right? I mean, we had a bunch of apps in there that wouldn't even install because they were from old versions that weren't even in market anymore. So clearly a bad situation. So now certification had to be recertified every 6 months along these waves. So a customer should theoretically feel like, okay, this is certified, that should mean something. And it does mean that it will actually install. They pass solution checker and pass some things like that to get in there. I don't know that another third-party marketplace could necessarily do the certification, because that's a lot of back-end tools that they're using to run all those tests and stuff like that. You'd almost have to trust the app provider that it works. So yeah, I could see some challenges with a third party, but certainly as a marketing site, could a third party create a marketplace of apps with demo videos and contact us and be able to feed leads to, hell, that's frankly, I'd rather have Microsoft do that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need test drive. I don't need trial. I don't need all that other crap. I don't need certification. I don't need any of that stuff. Give me a marketplace, market the fuck out of it, get tons of eyeballs on it. Make sure when people are trying to find what I'm selling, they're able to find it, and then send it to me. I'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Yep.
If they did that, I think we'd all be a lot happier. You know?
Yeah. 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 Valid.
Did they clarify software that wants to integrate with? Do they still plan to grab money from them? ISV Connect understand COVID impact on partners. So he's talking about a couple different things. You know, Frank is an angry man. Frank is an angry man. He's not happy with a lot of these things. I share his anger on a lot of these things as well. I don't know what some of these Connect ISV solutions are being asked to do. You got DocuSign. He mentioned like document generators. You got lots of companies that have built their own platform. They have their own fucking platform. They're not using Microsoft. They have their own platform. All they've done is build a connector.
That's it. Yep. I've talked with, banking account customers that have got a whole back end system that they do validation and they connect into the system. And of course, Microsoft's saying, please, where's our pound of flesh? And they're like, hang on a second.
But pound of what?
Of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The Power Platform makes up like 5% of what we're doing. And they've said to them, yeah, but you got to pay a fee on all of it. And they're going, what?
I think that's the opening gambit in the negotiations for Microsoft. But I know that there are ISVs out there that have negotiated around that and away from that. I know there's ISVs that have negotiated different deals for existing longstanding customers that they had long before.
Yeah, Click Dimensions definitely did a grandfathering deal.
I'm sure. Yeah. So I know there's deals out there to be had and some latitude, but I mean, as an opening position, that just it doesn't even seem like a smart one. It doesn't even seem like a smart one. So what do you got planned for the week? You're going to install your swimming pool / water.
I get my water tank in today. I see that even though I've been here, multiple calls I've not answered, which will be delivery trucks and whatnot coming out on site, kitchen coming. It's been it's amazing time, middle of winter here, but like it's all full of mist outside today and out to the ocean, the waves crashing in. It's a good time to live in New Zealand and not, of course, have any COVID issues. I don't know if you've seen, but Melbourne, Australia, or Victoria is the state, the amount of deaths and infections, they've gone into now full city lockdown curfew. No one's allowed out after a certain time. And seeing a couple of MVPs there, that it's so demoralizing to the folks.
Yeah.
So demoralizing. Yeah, I feel for them, mate.
I'm in Florida, and we've popped up as one of the U.S. hotspots all of a sudden again. So it was all these other states, and I guess it's our turn to ignore all the rules and have everybody get sick.
I love how I don't know whether it's just such a small segment that's hitting the media, but the amount of American Karens out there that and just absolute arrogance around wearing masks or anything. It blows my mind. Americans sometimes blows my mind.
I think we're all going to end up having to get it. I think the only way it goes away is we all end up having to get it. And
Bugger, if your immunity is not strong enough to overcome it,
that's going to be the problem. I think when we've already seen what's happened with people whose immunity isn't strong enough, but it almost seems like the only way it goes away is we all have to end up getting it and get over it.
Yeah. Are you ramping up for elections here? You got a new presidential election coming or something, I see.
Well, we do. So that would be what, November, right? November, there'll be an election, and we'll have, an interesting see what happens there.
So Trump, will he get another round, do you think? Do you just do your gut feeling? Will he get another term?
My gut feeling is that he will. My gut feeling is that he will. He's behind in the polling right now, but he was so far behind Hillary at the same time, and that didn't matter. I think he'll end up pulling it out, and the main reason is because the liberals, we couldn't put up someone any good either.
I watched the shuttle re-entry over the week, which is amazing. Elon Musk, man, that guy, what a brain on him. I know that he's only one of many, but like he had this vision, this dream, and he's be able to turn it to reality. And but I noticed that on the re-entry, I was watching it. There was something like 68,000 people on YouTube watching it live. So they had a bit more of an audience than we have here. And, but the comments were just so full of Trump supporters. Trump 2020, blah, blah, blah. Just,
I can't even listen to political discourse anymore. It's too black and white. It's too polarized. You can't even have you can't even have a conversation about anything with anybody political now, unless you're hard one side or the other. And I'm tired of it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elon Musk, I think, yeah, brains, but even more than that, he's got balls. He's got the balls to do shit.
He's taking action, right? Taking action. I love it. All righty,
All right,
mate.
so thank you for everybody letting me know that post was really just part one, and I need to come back with
a bit stronger, mate. You need to be stronger.
A left hook behind it. So, all right, guys, next time.
Ciao, ciao.